Testing your broadcast. Now what? It's supposedly streaming. Ooh. Fancy.
All right. I guess we are streaming.
No. You should be telling us at some point if somebody's entering.
That is true. That gets a little... I wonder where our community page is.
There's the chat.
Oh. Welcome to the chat.
Probably,
so I guess it's on.
It's probably when people...
There.
Yeah, 5 viewers.
Okay.
Hey.
Hey. We're using a new streaming service here, so we're trying to figure out how it works. So apparently it's working. StreamLabs, yes. So yeah, it's a new interface, but it seems to have connected really well to YouTube Live, and we also have a new microphone that we're using, so hopefully the sound is good. Let us know if it's not. But yeah.
We have 5 people.
Excellent.
That's good.
Cool.
Hi everybody.
Hello.
We recognize some names from our sub lists.
So where are you guys coming in from? Where are you based out of?
We just got up and made some coffee and pancakes and got on the live stream. A little late start here, 11 o'clock.
Well, we tried to think about other time zones. So for us, this is pretty convenient. So hopefully this works for East Coast, Europe, other countries and stuff like that.
Yeah, it seems like 11 o'clock on a Saturday is a good time to stream.
Southern California, nice. Ooh,
Huntington
a lot of
Beach.
California, Minnesota, Canada, Belgium. Cool.
Nice. We are in Seattle, as is often mentioned in our videos. And it's a rainy day. It was actually very sunny for a whole month here, teasing us during the lockdown with sun. But we did go out every single day, actually. What can you do?
What kind of coffee is this?
This coffee, I got it from a shop up the street, and it's a pour over. But I think it's from Guatemala, which is good stuff.
Martin makes coffee every morning, which is excellent. I love you for that.
Well, I just got the news that I'll be working from home for another 6 months, so I'll be making coffee for a while longer. We've had a lot of interesting experiences adapting with this whole conundrum that everyone's facing.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody has. If you guys want to let us know your experiences in the chat, we'd like to hear how everyone is dealing with it, because I'm sure it's different for everybody. But
oh man, cottage sounds fantastic.
Oh, that sounds nice. Yeah, they shut down our state parks, but I think they're going to reopen them soon. But last weekend, we actually went out to try to do something because we want to travel so badly, like I'm sure everybody else does. And so we drove around like all day, and we couldn't go anywhere because everything was closed. So we're like, oh, that was a disappointment.
It was, you couldn't access lakes, forests, mountains, nothing. Everything was completely shut. And it's ironic because here in the city, it's so loose and nobody's doing anything about it. But you go outside of the city where it's not needed and it's completely strict. So it's opposite. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, so I guess we'll see what happens. But a lot of people are working from home here in Seattle, and a lot of companies have announced that they can do that for the rest of the year. So we're kind of like that just happened a couple days ago. So now we're reading the fallout of all the businesses kind of freaking out about it. And my business is one of them because I rely on restaurants, I rely on food, I rely on big events with people. So honestly, I don't know. About half my business is probably gone for a while. So we'll see what happens. Yeah,
at first your business went down hard, like almost to zero, and then it started coming back.
It's actually coming back right now. So I'm actually going to start working with a restaurant on Monday. So we'll see how we're going to market them during this time when people aren't dining in. So we have to focus a lot on takeout, I think. So that'll be new for me to try to focus on. Don't come here, but pick stuff up. So that'll be an interesting marketing angle.
Yeah, that's the true thing. They have to all adapt, and they seem to be interested now in making kind of stories about how they're coping. And like, hey, look at what we're doing. Come do business with us anyway. Don't be scared. So some camera work is actually still needed to send the right message.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw our other channel, Gemini Discover, but I did upload a video last week now about a restaurant here that I work, or not a restaurant, he's like a food production company, and so I kind of followed him behind the scenes about how he's adapting, and so I kind of figure that's a good angle for restaurants and businesses to stick to going forward, because that's, to me, that's an interesting story because everyone has a different way of coping with it.
Yeah, Alexander says working in retail has not been fun. So you're getting rushed and people are buying too much and lining up and crowding in stores.
Yeah, I'm sure that's the case. We haven't been to a store in how long? I mean, besides grocery stores, but we haven't been to a restaurant in probably several months now. We haven't been to a retail store in who knows how long.
Yeah, so maybe we backtrack a bit. We were watching this whole thing happening around the world and we started feeling like it's going to hit here. And we started stocking up early in February. And then my company let us go in late February already. So we've been locked down for over 2 months already. And Seattle was the first one that got the epidemic in the USA. So we've been dealing with this among the longest in the country. And it's getting old. At first it was kind of a fun challenge, like, oh, this is how we cope and adapt. And now it's like, just make it end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. I think everyone is feeling pretty pent up about that. Huntington Beach, Missy, I'm sure you've seen that news. I know I saw the photos and the videos that's happening down there. People just getting fed up with it. So we'll see how much longer this lasts.
Hello to Christian, another entry in.
And Scott, you're right. At least we have each other. So I'm so glad that we're not locked down by ourselves, because that would be terrible. And I feel really, really bad for people that are alone. I know some people who are.
And we actually enjoy our companies.
Yeah, we enjoy being together, so that's really good.
I know many couples now are realizing they should have never been together. It's a rough thing to go through if you don't quite have the right partner, for sure. Some coworkers I just heard yesterday, they haven't actually left their house in over a month.
Wow.
They've done everything through delivery and they live alone and they haven't come out at all.
That's kind of incredible that our society has gotten to the point where you can do that. If you really want to, like, you could stay in your home and not go outside and be more or less okay. But I know that we feel it in our bodies. Like, I feel like we need to go out every day. And I've started doing yoga every day just because my shoulders get so tight. And if I don't do that, it's like I pay for it really badly. Yeah,
that's probably the main thing. The time that we save commuting, we actually put into doing yoga. Because otherwise everything hurts and we're sitting on couches and computers all day.
Kind of recently, the delivery dates are so far out that I've gone to Walmart.com, I've gone to B&H Photo, so I've actually gone to other retailers because they can get things to me faster, which is interesting because Amazon's known for their Prime 2-day shipping, and lately they haven't been able to do that for a lot of their products.
Well, if you look into what Amazon's been saying, they say unprecedented stress in the fulfillment system. They have so many orders, they can't even ship enough. And they can't even hire enough people. They're hiring about 200,000 people to deal with this. So it's something no one's ever seen before. It's madness. So we'll see how it goes for everybody. And it's on everybody's mind. But if you guys have any questions, throw them in the chat so we can talk about any topic, whether it's cameras or anything else, and we can talk about it. We can talk about how we've been adapting.
Yeah. So what have we been doing?
Well, first thing is we stocked up, we locked down, right? That's the first thing we did. And then we saw your business took a hit, and then the YouTube channel took a huge hit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, our views dipped really hard around March. And the ad money completely almost disappeared, and all the referral money, everything went to just basically 10 to 20% of what it was.
Yeah, and we're lucky that, we're not depending on the money, and if we do make any money on YouTube or just making these videos, we just put it back into the business, so that helps us buy newer cameras and just, pay for things that we need to do to keep the channel going. So we don't depend on it, but again, for YouTubers that do depend on this income, I think it's been really bad, and I think we're going to see who sticks it out in the long run. That's
right. So my job is doing really well. It's not at all shaky or anything, so we are not pressed for income. But we've worked really hard on YouTube, and seeing it nosedive like that is kind of a downer. But it has come back. For at first, I think everybody was really scared and nobody wanted to spend any money. So all the videos we do about product reviews were not interesting to people who are not on the market, it seems like. And now we're seeing them go back to where we started. So it went sharply down and then climbed back up slowly. So in the meantime, we actually started making more videos on the other channel, especially you, with more free time, ended up making travel and lifestyle videos.
So I guess I can talk about our video strategy going forward. So I think at one point I had said on Instagram that for the Gemini Connect YouTube page, I was going to try to make a video every other day. And I kind of stuck to that, I think, for the first month. But then as this drags on, you just start to lose motivation or just things start to pile up. So I'm kind of back to the one video a week strategy for Gemini Connect. But for Gemini Discover, our travel channel, we have a lot of trips that we did last year that we filmed from over a year ago that we haven't even looked at the footage yet. So we're able to keep going through that footage and try to get those travel adventures up. So I am still trying to get through all that whenever I have free time. But yeah, we still have a lot of videos left that are travel based, but if they come out, then they're not current. They're probably over a year old at this point.
But it's kind of lucky that we have such a big backlog, and we talk about this between the two of us a lot. So we had really extremely busy last few years, and we haven't been able to even go through all the media that we've shot. So now that we are confined, we are able to start going through that. So if you guys are subs on our new channel, Gemini Discover, that's where a lot of that is going. And we recently put out the first episodes from Belize.
We have a lot more from Belize. We have a lot from Belize. We have Florida. We've got Chicago, just all over. So hopefully we can keep those going. And still in the meantime, I am trying to do current things like following, restaurant owners here and just doing some current events related videos. But I think that channel, we're still trying to figure out like what's the theme for that channel besides travel. So we're kind of experimenting with travel and lifestyle there.
Yeah, and actually, while the product-based channel went down at first, the lifestyle and travel channel went up because we made some early coronavirus videos where we were among the fewer people talking about them before it became a huge deal. And those videos went up in the thousands of views, and that's a really young channel. So it actually started going up, and now it's getting regular views. And now this channel caught up. So I think we're actually net positive at this point between the two channels.
Which is good, yeah, because our long-term goal is still to focus on that second channel and try to get that going while still doing camera-related videos on Gemini Connect. And Scott is asking about the X Pro 3. Did you ever get to try that?
And they have all their cameras between all the lines, Instax, GFX, X Pro, it was there. So I held it, but I haven't shot with it. I have the X Pro 2. I really like the X Pro 2. I am jealous that I'm not buying the X Pro 3, but I just can't justify it because I do so much video now. For photography, it looks fantastic. It looks more like beefy, wider and heavier than the X Pro 2. And it has the new good stuff from the X-T3, like the sensor and the better focus and all that stuff. So without a doubt, it's a great camera, but it's very much oriented towards street and portrait photography. And I've started doing a lot of videos, so we're not getting that one. It was harder to think through whether we should get the X-T4.
I would say at this point, maybe we're glad that we didn't, just because when we were thinking about whether we should get that or not, it was before the pandemic happened. So given what's happened, I think, we are trying to save more money just because we don't know how much longer this is going to keep going. So we don't have any big purchases coming up other than possibly a home gym. We might start doing that because, we're going a little crazy.
So this is an interesting topic because part of what we've been doing, even before this whole epidemic broke out, we wanted more space to focus on YouTube and work from home. So this floor we're on, the entire floor in our new house is dedicated to work. So over there is the new studio that Susie's been working with, and this has actually kept your business afloat. Like you got a big corporate client to shoot product photography from the home studio, which is very good.
In fact, I wonder, can I turn this camera enough? So right behind me is like our product photography studio. And I've been working with, I can say it, I'm working with Starbucks and doing some like product photos with them. I can't say exactly what products, but those should be coming out soon. They're like summer related things. So yeah, that's been fun. And for me, like I do some product photography, but I've learned a lot more about it since doing it here because I have the time to do it and learning a lot about Photoshop. So one of my more recent videos was about photo editing because I am doing a lot more just photo editing more so than photography these days.
Yeah. So we have adapted that way and we were on the right track. So it's been a big benefit. So your business survived that way, even though like events are just gone. Like, I don't think they're even coming back for a while.
Events are gone. So actually I can talk about that part of it too, where there are some days when I think about how good we had it like a year ago and I get really sad because it's like I'm mourning like part of my life that is gone and I don't know if it's coming back because we were traveling so much. We traveled so much that we have travel videos we never got to even look at. And it was great. We were traveling constantly. We went to events constantly. And it was a really great lifestyle. And I don't know, all those things are gone.
Yeah. I haven't had time to feel sad about it because I've been working extremely hard from home and went through like an actual period of really hard work compared to before. So I just don't have time. But later, or more lately, I just want to travel and I can't. And we haven't traveled since October. And that's the first. Like ever since we met almost 8 years ago, we have never had downtime for travel more than a few months. And we actually met on a travel website. So like our relationship early on was quite based on travel. And now we're stuck for the first time ever.
We've had a few friends be like, what's your relationship going to be like now that you can't travel together? Because yeah, for the whole time they've known us, right, we travel a lot. And it's like, that's a good question. But again, we enjoy each other's company, like in general. So that's been really good. Like I think that's verified that we can be together even when we can't go outside and we can be fine.
Well, funny enough, travel actually proves that because when you travel, you're with someone 24/7 for an extended period of time.
Well, so right now too.
right.
It's the same way. It's just a different type of relationship, I guess, that way.
Right. So having traveled together, we knew we can be together enough. We have a question here from Alain. I think, I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right. It sounds French, so it should be Alain, right? So it says, is it easy to merge video from a GoPro to X-T3?
Yes. If you look at that video that I did on Gemini Discover, the Umami Kushi video, that one was, so it was me. I had filmed and I edited that entire thing and it was a lot harder than I thought. I really wish you were there to help me.
Oh, right, one person.
Yeah, it makes me really value having a second person there because I did all of it. And I did all of that with an X-T3 and a GoPro. All of the car, there are some scenes where I follow Harold the chef in his car when he's making deliveries, and those are all GoPro. So I actually did merge it pretty well. I think as long as you have good lighting, GoPro sucks in like dark lighting, like, you know, for here, because it's so cloudy out today, like even using it indoors here, the GoPro would suck really badly right now. But the X-T3 would do okay. So it's like as long as you have even lighting, I think you can use footage from both cameras really well. Yeah,
we're not even shooting in any flat profiles at all, actually.
Yeah.
We've been having this discussion. We're probably going to make a video about the flat profile in the GoPro. At least in the 7 we tried it, and it's okay that you can grade, you can get more artistic with color grading, but the problem was it strips your noise reduction that you get for free out of the GoPro itself, and when you put it on your computer you get a ton of noise, and trying to correct that noise for the length you shoot with a GoPro, it was taking hours actually to reduce the noise that automatically happens when you don't shoot flat. So we actually gave up on flat. We may want to try it again in 8. If they have just left the noise reduction on the flat profile, it would be way better. And that would make it easier to actually match the looks. But again, the noise reduction becomes the issue there. And we saw another guy, what's his name? Peter Manning or something, a YouTuber?
Oh, David Manning.
David, yeah. Mm-hmm. So he is all about the grading the GoPro stuff, but I don't know if he runs into this noise problem or whether he just lets it correct noise for 2 hours and does something else. I don't know.
He did a really recent video showing how he grades his GoPro footage, and it looked pretty straightforward, but my problem with it was that he was shooting in even lighting. And I'm like, if you're shooting in even lighting, it's really easy to grade your footage, but it's when you have harsh lighting where it gets tough, because he's doing it like in a travel setting.
The 361R does better in the dark. It has a bigger sensor, yeah. So interesting cameras have come out recently competing against the GoPro, and honestly GoPro is in trouble financially too. We still prefer GoPros, but the competition from the Chinese companies like 360 and DJI is very serious at this point. GoPro made a bit of a mistake where I think they left their production in China for a while. They got straight up copied. It was completely copied within China, and other companies are releasing the exact same product. Now GoPro has started pulling out, but they already have financial problems, and the whole world's economy is screwed up, so who knows what happens from here on.
And I would say too, like we're trying to use more, we still are using the GoPro pretty regularly, but that Hero 8, there's just a couple of things that are so annoying about it. Like that media mod, I hate that media mod so much.
Well, the usability is garbage. The idea is good, but when you actually try it, it becomes a hassle.
Yeah, I like how convenient it is to add your mic jack and just have it right there. And, you know, it's nice. But so when I was shooting that video with Harold, the Umami Kushi video with the GoPro, I actually messed up the last half of it because the camera like just blanked out, and it hadn't happened before. The Hero 8's actually been really good. It hasn't just frozen, but it froze right as I was trying to film, of course. And so I had to pull the battery out. But the problem is I was using the media mod, so I had to take off the whole media mod, take off the tripod, and like pull the battery out and stuff everything back in. And yeah, I actually lost a lot of footage that way.
It does do that. We have a question from Mir Pavlovsky. Do you speak Russian? Меня не говорит по-русски. Very little Russian, but I understand a lot more than I can speak. I'm from Bulgaria, and our languages are the same language family. Maybe something like 1,000 years ago they were the same language, but at this point they have diverged to the point I can't speak it, but I do understand 40% maybe of what I hear in Russian. And I went to Ukraine, and it would be actually closer because Ukraine is between Russia and Bulgaria. And they start speaking to me in their language, and for about 3 sentences I can pretend I'm local, and then I fall apart. So yeah.
I don't speak any Russian.
No, well, you started on Duolingo.
I started a little bit. So Duolingo's great. Rosetta Stone too is great. So I started last year now, and yeah, it's pretty fun.
Yeah,
but hard. I'd say it's hard.
Russian, the grammar is hard. So we've been watching this YouTuber Bold and Bankrupt, probably the most fun on YouTube right now. Though he's been locked down and hasn't made any videos, but the funny thing is that he has a strategy about learning languages that in the case of Russian really helps. He says completely ignore grammar, go and try to make a conversation as basic as you can without being embarrassed that you sound like a caveman. And he in fact speaks really well with the locals. He doesn't mind that he doesn't know grammar. He can travel through Russia, talk to anybody, make videos about it. So if you ignore the grammar, you actually benefit a lot.
Yeah, and he actually did that same strategy in India, and he went down to Bolivia and was trying to do that with Spanish. And so, yeah, it's kind of a proven strategy where he does get away with that. And I studied Spanish in college, and I even lived in Spain for a little bit. And I'd say that's true because the way that I learn, I like to know everything, and I like to try to get the grammar right. And I probably stress out about that too much. But I had friends and roommates that didn't do that, and they probably learned and actually like applied it a lot better than I did because I was too much about I got to get this exactly right. And they were like, no, just say what you want to say, and people will figure it out and help you out.
Yeah, most recently I started studying French because I went to France on the tail end of a work trip, and I had so much fun. Actually, it comes to me rather easily, but again, the grammar is hard. But with French, it's actually the pronunciation which is crazy. They have the same letters making different sounds, and it's the hardest language to pronounce that isn't tonal, I think.
Yeah, I'd say the same. Like I've looked at French sometimes and I'm like, I just don't know how to pronounce it. And Russian's the same for me too. And then it's also just like it's a different alphabet with Russian as well. So it's like, gosh, this is hard.
Thank you. Meir says your English is perfect. I mean, it's close, I guess, but not exactly perfect.
I think it's pretty perfect. Like when I first met you, like 8 years ago, and I heard your accent, and I hadn't really met anyone from Eastern Europe before, so I was like, oh, I don't know what to think. But I was actually worried because I meet people in Seattle all the time that have accents, and you realize pretty quickly that their English isn't perfect. So I actually slow it down, and I try to get more basic with my words so that they understand me. And I remember trying to do that with you for a little bit because I was like, I don't know how much English she actually knows. He knows a lot of English. Like you've known English pretty well for the whole time I've known you. I don't like ever have to correct you for anything.
Yeah, I studied since I was 5 years old, I think. My brother started teaching me with a picture word book thing. And he taught me before I even went to school. And then I went to, every sixth day of the week, I went to private school to study English. So 5 days of normal schooling, 6 day all English for 12 years. And then I moved to the USA and lived here for 18 years.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of time for me to learn it. Still, I find myself messing up words when I'm trying to speak too fast and try to say too much in too little time.
You know the one? Fingers.
Yeah.
Funny.
So Susie keeps making fun of me because in my language we have the same word for toes and fingers. And I always get those two wrong.
That one's always funny. So yeah, you have little things like that, but other than that, yeah, it's like you don't really have problems.
Yeah. So we have Scott also knows about Bold and Bankrupt. It's very good on YouTube. All people should check it out. It's hilarious. And Alan says, you're right, my wife from Colombia has hard time with French. So where are you two based then? Are you based in France or French Canada or some other place? And we have Meir saying, you speak very clearly. For those who speak Russian, it's easy to understand you. It's cool.
Oh.
I have noticed too, when you are a language speaker, but it's a second language, like me with English, I actually have easier time understanding other people whose language English is second for. Like the Indians at work, for example, I get when they make mistakes, I understand their mistakes. Because
that makes sense.
Yeah, because often the problem is you take things too literally and things like that. Or they look at the word and they pronounce it the way it's written.
Yeah.
You know, that's a common mistake for second language learners and things like that. So when people are using English as a second language, they can actually understand each other better. And it's actually a funny thing because I observe through my brother who works in English, but he lives back still in Bulgaria. And people around the world have their own version of English at this point. They just have adapted it and they speak broken English. But that's the language of many people who are working together. Like his team, they're from South Africa, from all over the place. And they just speak a certain type of English. It's kind of really 21st century pidgin.
I was going to say, so Hawaii had that, where you had just a bunch of people, mostly from Asia, and they all, you know, the original people that worked on the plantation, so my great-grandmother did that, and they all come together, and they have to figure out how to work together. So that's how you get pidgin English, which is what you find in Hawaii. And that's just, locals trying to figure out English and a way to communicate with each other.
Yeah, Hawaiians speak a bit like a bit pidgin, a bit kind of country, because it's really actually has small town country culture and background, except they sound like Brits when they say rubbish. It's very funny when you go there. Yeah. Any questions, anybody?
I guess what else can we talk about? We can talk about, do we have any travel plans?
Well,
what are we doing travel-wise?
I've been trying to, first we had the big plan to go to Japan. We wanted to do that for the cherry blossom, which was in April.
We would be there right now
Yeah.
if our trip had gone according to plan.
Yeah, and I've been to Japan. It's one of my favorite countries. That was the first big international trip I did after I graduated college, and I completely loved it. And that fell through because of the global pandemic. And your mother's Japanese. She's been there. You've always wanted to go there.
I have not been there. I've only been to the airport in Japan. So yeah, that's one of the countries that's super high on my bucket list. The entirety of South America is also really high on my bucket list. I just haven't gotten to either of those places. So yeah, I was really looking forward to Japan. We will still make it at some point, but who knows? Like they went as far as to canceling the Olympics. So I don't know what's happening.
So yeah, first plan was Japan. That fell through because as soon as China blew up, we thought that's too close. And Japan actually early on had a problem. They seem to have been pretty good at stopping it, but it's still kind of simmering there, going up. Then we were like, okay, well, if it can't be Asia, let's go to Europe. And I had just been to France, and I was really actually loving France. I am now all of a sudden a fan of France, very funny. And I started learning French and making a big plan and a huge itinerary. And then Europe went crazy. First Italy and then the rest. France is really damaged. So we were like, oh, well, we can't do that either. So we started thinking about the USA as an option. And then a huge explosion of the disease in the USA happened. We still have an idea of just driving east of Seattle, because if you look at the map of the USA, and just do a population density search, and you'll find out we actually live in the corner of the USA which is surrounded by almost no people, and west of Chicago and north of San Francisco there isn't a bigger city than Seattle. You go for thousands and thousands of miles or kilometers, and there is actually nothing very big as far as population goes, and the disease is not at all spread. So if we just drive away, we're not in danger of the virus. But actually everything is closed right now. State parks are closed, national parks are closed, and all the hotels are closed. So right now we actually can't even travel within our own country. So the last plan has been to buy a roof tent and put that on our car and just sleep near like mountains and lakes and things like that until things start reopening.
And we got that idea like 2 days ago, so we'll see.
We've
the
had,
roof tent part.
Yeah, we've had the idea with the roof tent, but we wanted to buy a bigger car because we drive Impreza, which is small. But we realized we can maybe just buy a smaller roof tent and go get by with that until we can do the bigger project. So yeah, we've wanted to travel so badly and make some travel films, but it's been tough. Yeah.
And my take on that as well is that we've got a lot of travel films that we did film, but we haven't actually put out yet. So again, it's kind of nice to have that downtime to hopefully catch up and publish more films that we have already made.
Yeah, that's coming. We have a whole series from Belize coming. We have filmed a lot. And yeah, wildlife is definitely... So the next lens we're going to buy is the 100 to 400 Fujifilm, and we're gonna look for birds. If you go back a year through our videos, when we crashed our car, we actually used that lens and it was great. And we didn't crash the car by our own mistake. A deer jumped into it like immediately in front of our windshield, and we couldn't even stop. We have a question from Alexander Watson. Did you read my post of the speed booster results?
No, I know what you're talking about, but no, I haven't done that yet. I've been a little delayed with looking at comments because I feel like I'm trying to like reserve part of my day to actually read them all, because I am making more of an effort, or I always have actually, to try to read most of the comments. Obviously there are some comments you don't want to read, but yeah, I want to make that part of our channel where we are more, we actually respond to comments and we look at them because it's good feedback, and you guys have bothered to watch our videos, so if you engage with us, then yeah, we want to do the same back. So yeah, I will get to that. I haven't looked at it yet.
Sometimes I try to delete the comments that people are being mean to you before you see them because they wake up first.
Well, the thing is though, I have it set to my email, so I do look at each one that comes to my email, but whenever we see one that is a little nasty, I go to try to handle it, and I realize you've already done that. So that's nice.
Yeah, the notification remains, but I'm like, I just don't want her to even see some of this stuff.
Yeah, and our take on that as well is I don't mind comments that don't agree with us, but it's like you don't need to be insulting or rude or anything like that. But if you disagree with us, that's totally fine. I actually like that. It's like, we should be challenged and we should have a discussion about it.
We have a comment from Newtype. Just dropping to say a friendly hello from New Jersey. Can't stick. It sounds like you have a home project. Thank you for the compliment. You can watch this as a recording, right?
Yeah. This whole video should publish, I think, right after. This is our second live stream, so we're still trying to figure out how live streaming works and, improve on it. I have something coming, so the next live stream we do, I'm hoping we can do that with the X-T3 or one of our Fujifilms. Because right now we're using the webcam, and it bothers me so much that the webcam just sucks with the quality.
It's fuzzy.
It's okay, but it could be better. So yeah, we'll be working on that. We'll be trying to improve the quality of our live stream.
Yeah, and if you have any questions that you can't wait for the answer, you can send them in the channel and watch later.
But yeah, great. that you're doing a home improvement project. We had plans to do that as well, but everything's on hold. So we'll see how that goes.
All right. So we wanted to build the home studio in a different area. However, we need to build out a wall, and we don't want to have contractors coming into our house during an epidemic. So we have put that on hold. It's kind of a bummer because we had several projects we wanted to do in this time. I guess we're saving money because we were going to buy a new car and do new home projects and probably completely wipe out all our funds. But now we actually haven't spent anything. I haven't got the report from my Mint app, which is automated microfinance, and it said you've spent $0 this week. A complete zero.
It's so weird to look at that. I also have like on my phone, like Google sends me updates like every month about where I've been, and it's always cool to just see, oh, I've been to X amount of cities and places, and I've walked this amount, and it's like I have done like nothing for the past couple of months, except for our walking exercises, but we haven't traveled at all. And I know that we're not alone in that, but it's just really strange to see that.
Well, speaking of that, we live in a big city. It's like 4.5 million people, but Seattle is not your typical big city, I would say, because it's very forested and there's a lot of water, and the city has almost 500 parks within the city limits. So, and we happen to live in an area where there's many next to us, so that's really been keeping us healthy. It's I can't imagine being in New York or somewhere like that, where even a lot of Europe is very densely concentrated, and Asia too. And you wouldn't at all. Oh, thanks a lot.
Oh, thank you. What is that, a super chat, I think?
It seems to be a super chat, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. If you have questions or any requests, we can definitely address them to go along with that. We're still very new to this. I guess we can talk about having started a Patreon.
Oh, yes.
As part of adapting to all this, because so now we have the
cool.
automation.
Nice.
The software is very cool because
Right?
it just understood the super chat and actually streamed it, it looks like. Thank you very much. So yeah, as part of the adapting to this unprecedented situation, we started building out the home studio on this floor right over there that we showed you a peek. And you started shifting towards product photography. And we've been walking around the neighborhood a ton. And then we saw the revenues from YouTube go down a lot at first. Now they're slowly coming back. And then Amazon hit us extremely hard with the new rates.
Oh gosh, yeah.
The referral rates
Yeah.
went down 4 times for product referrals on Amazon, which is crazy. And especially for us, because first we were part of this other program called Local, and that program hit twice higher rates than the normal. They shut that program completely in February, I think. And we ended up getting our rates slashed in half. And then just last month, they did that with the normal rates, again in half. So the rates we were getting last year went quadruple down.
Yeah, it's been bad.
Terrible.
So if you don't know what we're talking about, it's the Amazon affiliate program. And so a lot of YouTubers do this, where if we talk about a product, we leave a link in the description below. And not everyone does it, but if they do, they click on the link, and if they buy something on Amazon, we get a small commission from it. And that's been really great just to help us keep the channel going. And it's not, I don't think it's very obtrusive or intrusive. And yeah, it's been a really great program, but they've gradually been pulling it back. So again, we're not dependent on that money coming in, but for the people that are, it's been a big blow for them. So yeah, we're all trying to figure out how do we adapt to that? What does that look like for people that want to, make an income from making media like this? And so a lot of people are, leaning more so on Patreon. And so we started a Patreon, we just haven't advertised it yet because we kind of went back and forth about, is this the right time? Should we do it? And so, yeah, I think we'll just kind of leave it up there. We'll just see what happens because, we don't expect people to necessarily do it. And we're going to make videos regardless of if we have people on Patreon or not. But if we have Patreon, I feel like we can treat it as a way to get people that are more loyal, that want to actually watch our videos, support us, and actually give us more feedback about what kind of videos they want to see. So I think we're going to treat it like that.
Yeah, so we haven't even told anyone it's out there.
Yeah, but it is.
Yeah, so it's interesting that I looked on LinkedIn, they did a survey across all industries and who's been most adversely affected and who feels the most at risk economically from this current situation. And they ranked the industries, and number one safest was engineering, and that includes software engineering. And at the very bottom last was media.
Media and marketing, which is everything I do. Yay.
Yeah, exactly. So for Susie's business and for our common endeavor, very rough. But for what I do, which is software engineering, I'm very, very safe right now. So it's kind of like you're seeing real time the consequence of your choices. And we have seen other YouTubers say, I don't know what to do, guys. My income is down 90%, and it looks like it's not coming back anytime soon. And it really makes you wonder, many people will not be able to do this full time, it seems like.
Or you're just going to have to get really creative about how you do that, because interestingly, sales is actually up there. So it's engineering and sales. So if you can kind of shift marketing or media or combine those skills but make it more sales oriented, then you could possibly start doing better. I think product photography has been good for that, where I've just been working more on that. And, because online sales are up, then if you can provide media for online sales, then you can make money that way.
It's true. So part of the really good thing about living in Seattle is that we have extremely strong companies here. We have, just to name a few, we have Amazon, Microsoft, Costco, Boeing, Starbucks, and it goes on and on, Zillow, Redfin. We have probably over 100 leading companies in various fields, and they still have budgets. They haven't totally gone under. They all have to adapt, and when they adapt, they still need work. They need contractors like you, they need employees like me, and so we're doing okay in this city. It's not a huge disaster here in Seattle, actually. It's just kind of boring, honestly.
Sort of, because on the flip side, so everyone I know who works in restaurants, it's been really tough. Some restaurants, again, have done really well in adapting and just being like, okay, if this is the reality, we can do takeout, we can do delivery. So some have switched to that really easily, but it's the fine dining sit-down restaurants and the ones based downtown that you're like, I don't know if they're going to make it through this. And it's tough because I know a lot of them personally. So that's
true. You actually know these people. It's very sad because if you know how hard they've worked and they've really put their life effort into this.
So before all this happened, my next documentary was going to be talking to some of these restaurants and actually following a restaurant from the ground up as they were building up to opening, and just trying to highlight to people that go to restaurants that it's not just about the food. There's been so much thought and money that got poured in before they even opened their doors. And obviously that's not a great time to do that project now, but I kind of wish I had, because that would have been really an interesting side to restaurants that, again, we don't know how restaurants are going to rebound from this.
Yeah, which is partially why it's good that you did that last project with the Japanese fried breads.
Yeah.
Because it shows how people are adapting. They've switched to complete delivery. They've gone straight to the grocery stores, and so they are adapting. And there's a big story to be told how if something happens, it hits the entire world at once, and everyone has to scramble to adapt. And all the stories, I feel like they're a little bit delayed because, for example, I really wonder what's happening in New York. I don't see much media coming out of New York to tell you what really the situation is like on the ground there.
Yeah, so actually first, Missy, thank you for using my affiliate links. We had actually an email discussion. So yeah, if you guys have specific questions, then send me an email. And if I can, I'll try to help you out, because I think, again, that's part of what's great about this channel is that we get to connect with people. And yeah, if we can help, we're more than happy to. But yeah, going back to news and everything, I think that's why YouTube has been great, because as this whole pandemic is going on, it's we can get CNN news, we can get mainstream media news, whatever, that's easy to find, but it's where are the stories about individuals and how they're getting through it? I think now there's going to be a shift in media where everybody knows that there's bad things happening, but it's where's the positive side of things, where people are adapting and just coming up, becoming better people because of it.
Hopefully they are. There's also the danger that many people degrade in their physics and mental capacity, honestly. Think of if you're in a little condo in New York and you just can't leave at all. Outside is very sometimes crowded. You have the quarantines, they're fining you for leaving. There are no real parks next to you. If you've been to New York, they have Central Park, which is great, but you can't have everyone out of that 10 million people city go into Central Park in the same time. So what do you actually do?
I don't know. And, I love New York, but what I love about New York is the energy and all the people and just being around tons of people. And you can't do that now. So, yeah, it makes you wonder what is the future for places like that.
Yeah, we don't know. So it's quite interesting. We're quite happy with where we live, but even though we're bored at this point, I don't know.
We're not totally bored. It's like the other thing is I'm glad we have space because we moved into this place about a year ago. And before that, we were in a condo, which was a great condo. But man, if we were trapped there right now, I think we would have both killed each other.
Alexander left a comment. What I like about you guys is that you don't make us feel like pushing using Patreon or to watch you behind the scenes of what you do. That's actually an interesting point because our channel is based on taking you with us as we do projects. We don't want to be those people who simply are at the desk, even though they lit it perfectly and they have a 4K camera and everything is great and it's on a tripod so it's stable and the sound is perfect, and they're just sitting talking about the camera. It just is not interesting to us.
Well, I would say that there's room for that type of video, and I watch a lot of those videos. I like product reviews and people that do that. But when we're looking at starting our own media channel, it's like, how can we be different? What can we do that is not that? Because there's plenty of that already. So that was kind of our angle to start with, of like, okay, we're not going to be in a perfectly lit studio, but we're going to be in our actual homes, and it's going to be obvious that we're in our homes because there are plenty of people that do that too. They don't have the budget or the space to make studios. So it's like, how can you, do photos, do videos without having all that stuff?
And a lot of what we do is on the field because think about it, when you're buying a camera, you're not buying it to stay home and talk about it. You're buying it to go out and shoot, which is also why the slogan on the banner is like, go out and shoot. And we show you what it is like to take a camera. And another interesting sticking point in our comments a lot is, you are not using this gear perfectly. And it's like, well, that's because most of our videos are like, we just got gear and we're taking it out for the first time to see what it's like and get to use it. And it actually shows you whether the gear is good by how well you can adapt and use it from the get-go, right?
Yeah, so I guess we could do a better job of emphasizing that. That's where we're coming from. We're not doing a total technical review of the product, because some people come to us and they think that's what they're going to get and they get disappointed. That's not what it's about. But it's like, there are plenty of people that do that.
Right.
But we're about, getting it in our hands and actually walking through it. I'm actually finishing up a video now about camera bags. And I had a lot of fun making those videos. I could talk about camera bags forever. But what I liked about it was that I actually got a new bag, and I was like, I'm on camera and I have never looked at this bag before, but I'm doing it like as I'm filming. So that was, kind of fun of just unwrapping it. And I think for brands, that can be helpful. If here's someone who's actually getting our product, here's how they actually use it, and we're pointing out things that they could do better. So maybe brands can actually benefit because we're like, hey, fix this, fix that, and they can actually come up with a better product as a result.
Yeah, so we've been thinking of some branding like field reviews or field tests, and more so describe what we do. There are many people that do a really good job with the product reviews. They go over everything in great detail. They have great delivery. They're scripted. This is another point. We're not scripted at all, and we're never going to be scripted when it comes to this channel, at least, Gemini Connect. We may script some of our documentaries eventually on Gemini Discover, but we don't want to be scripted because I think it removes from a lot. In a way, unless it flows from the inside, it's not very interesting and not very authentic.
Does it feel natural?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think you're better at it. For me, I have a harder time with that. Like when I film my own videos, you probably hear me now because you're here all the time. And it's like I have to do so many multiple takes because I just can't get my words straight. So I have a harder time with that. But I'm on the same page of I don't want to read from a script because it's really obvious when I'm reading from a script.
Yeah, that's the thing. And then you come off like the news.
Yeah.
Teleprompter in the back and all that. So we think part of what is really interesting about YouTube is the genuine feeling you get from it. You get the feeling that you're closer to the creators. And if they're scripted and they lit everything perfectly, you probably wouldn't feel as close. You feel like they're the old media.
Well, it's a different type of media. And I get, if you're doing a super technical review, like when I try to talk about, here's the weight and the size of this product, like I I can't remember those numbers. So I understand, like, for technical reviews, sure, you need to have all that stuff in front of you. But again, that's not what we're trying to do. We're more about, like, here's what it's like to actually use these things out in the field.
Pedro Escobar says hello. Hello, Pedro. Where are you joining us from? We are very curious always about where all the viewers are from. It's a lot of the fun on the internet.
That's another great thing about YouTube. It's like you just never know where people are finding you from.
Yeah. Here's a question for whoever's watching us. What channels do you guys watch? We're
that's a good
curious.
question.
We can go over some channels we like.
Yeah.
We mentioned Bold and Bankrupt earlier. What else have we been watching lately?
What's tough right now is that so many people aren't creating. So it's like people that, even Bald is one of them, where he used to upload regularly, and it's like he doesn't do that so much anymore. And I think actually creators are having that struggle of like, you know, we want to be sensitive to what's going on, but you don't want to make your channel all about the pandemic. So it's like, how do you strike that balance between here's what real life is, but yet we don't want to be depressing and we want to, you know, still keep doing what we're doing. So yeah, I know for gear that's been tough. It's like, I don't know that people want to necessarily go out and buy cameras all the time. So it's like, should we still keep talking about cameras? And, you know, we've decided that we should, and we still do, but yeah, I understand people that don't want to necessarily talk about, here's the latest $10,000 camera, go buy it.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because I just talked to a coworker yesterday, and he's told me he saved a lot of money because of the lockdown and he can't wait to go buy cameras. So people find themselves in different spots, I guess. We watched a lot of Mark Wiens recently.
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah, we like Mark Wiens, but normally I don't care to watch him too much because it's really all just him reacting to food.
And he has the same reactions.
Right.
It's really great. Like, he's so excited. He's like a little kid with food. But it's like after a while, it's like, well, it's the same reaction for every type of food.
Yeah, but so what we found out is that before of the whole problem with travel, he was actually getting a lot better. He was making some of his greatest trips he had in Russia and Romania and I think recently Iran. And now he's locked down and he runs a travel channel. So it's been interesting to see him adapt. And he actually is pulling it off. He's doing really a good style there, adapting to being in his house all the time.
I think he's getting more creative. Like, he's using more, like he did like an ASMR kind of cooking video with his mother-in-law. And it's like, that was great. It's like I think he's realized he's got time. He has the cameras. So it's like, why not improve on his camera skills? So his last video, it felt, you know, partially cinematic. It's like a vlog, but you could tell that he put more effort into each shot.
Yeah.
So that was really cool to see.
Yeah, another channel we've been watching is everyone now is cooking, so we've been watching Guga Foods.
Yeah.
And man, does anyone know whether he shoots his own stuff? Because he shoots so well and cooks really, really well if it's him shooting. Like, every shot is perfect.
I think he does do his own stuff. He might have an assistant or two, but, you know, realistically, his stuff looks really good, but camera gear has come down in price so much. I think all he's got, you know, a slider. He's got some really big light source because it's the light. He does a lot of meat. And so when you do, especially raw meats, it's like you got to have good lighting to make that look good. Otherwise, it just looks disgusting. So I think he's got, you know, a studio, and he might have someone that helps him shoot, but I think he does a large chunk of it.
Yeah, and then he does voiceover and just a huge production from his house right now. And this is fascinating to see how people have all of a sudden managed to turn their houses into studios and they're pushing out media. And you have a single creator like that making great quality media. Meanwhile, you have CNN and all of them. They've gone to their homes with their webcams, their cell phones, and you see really atrocious quality interviews on mainstream media. So we've been laughing really hard about that. It's actually the YouTubers are better at making media on their own than the actual media people are.
And that's actually one of the reasons why I want to get away from this webcam, because I'm like, I don't want to be like them. I know we can do better. I know what it takes to be better. So I'm working really hard on improving this live streaming thing.
That's right. So the next one is going to be with the X-T3.
Yeah. Yeah, there's one little piece I need. And once I figure this out, I'll do a video talking about it, because yesterday I spent most of the day doing research about how do I make a live stream better quality. So yeah, hopefully the only way that we know is to actually do them so that we have, we can try it out and see how it works. So if it works out really well, we'll do a behind the scenes about how we get that going.
Yeah, and I think, for example, this software here, it does so much for you already. It has levels, it has the interaction, it has effects, it has everything. And the cool thing about all that is that you end up being able to run a high quality media from your house or workstation.
And people have been doing it for a long time. So yeah, we're using a StreamLabs OBS. And I found out about this because I watched another live stream yesterday of someone using Nikon to film it, and was using the Streamlabs to broadcast it. So I was like, oh, let me just figure out how to do that.
So Alain says, I follow Ian Worth and Thomas Heaton for wildlife, Pav Giuliani for videos, and Pixim Perfect for Photoshop. So we'll check out those suggestions. We actually haven't watched any of these people.
I think I've seen Thomas Heaton's videos from wildlife. I don't know how to describe his style, but yeah, I think I know him.
Yeah, we should make sure we save that comment and check them out. We're watching a lot of media like everyone else is right now.
I would say though that we've actually we watch less product reviews and tech videos. Partially because you're like, you don't need to be tempted to buy stuff that you're like, it's going to take months to get here, and we don't know if we should be spending money like that. So, you know, on that note, it makes sense for us to be like, well, maybe we shouldn't be talking so much about product, because, you know, we ourselves aren't really watching product reviews right now, but it's more about techniques and how-tos. So I've been trying to shift our focus to that, because I know that's also been, like, we did polls recently too, and people were like, yeah, we want to see more how-tos and tutorials, so we're trying to shift in that direction.
Yeah, we can do more of that, and especially now that there's a bit of a home studio going, there's a lot to cover. Something we've wanted to cover for a while is using sliders and motion boxes by, what's that company? Edelkrone. Yeah, we have stuff by Edelkrone, and we have taken forever, about over a year, to actually play with it and review it, but we have a nice setup for motion product photography and videography. It should be pretty fun. I was going to say, yeah, so if you get good at live streaming in high quality and you're good on camera and everything, your stakes are rising right now because everything has shifted to virtual, and there are no big productions anymore. I don't know if you guys have seen, but Hollywood is shut down. All the big productions for media are shut. So coming up soon, there's going to be an actual shortage of professionally produced media with large budgets. So it's going to fall all in the court of independent creators when you think about it.
Yeah, they're saying that, you know, a lot of the big Hollywood movies aren't able to be produced. So it makes you wonder about what's coming up then, you know, because we always rely on, like, here's the latest movies coming out. And yeah, I don't know what that means exactly.
Thank you, Alain. Thanks for stopping by and watching our videos.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll see you next time. So yeah, it's a very interesting time right now. I keep telling Susie this, like, our entire lives, and it's over 3 decades, and we have never felt as much uncertainty, or almost any. Your life has been so preordained, and there's so many outcomes you can actually take for granted until now, when all that got completely tossed out. And so, you know, you get born, you go to school, you have to go to college, you have to get a job, you can take a few vacations, you get married, you buy a house, all that stuff is like a path for you. And you more or less knew what things are going to play out like. But right now, you have no idea what actually happens.
Yeah, I think it's a really bad place to be for, like, recent graduates. Because it's like, yeah, what path do you take? Because everything seems up in flux right now. It's good and it's bad, because I think also the people that chose to go out and, you know, work from the road, or just, like, live like a free life with no house, it's like you might be, you know, rethinking that whole strategy. Not that it's a bad thing, but you do wonder now with what's going on and what the future looks like, if that's a good move. Maybe it was smarter to do that, work in an office, get a house, and settle down to a point, and just travel when you can. Maybe that's a better way to go.
That's the choice we made. We always wanted to travel, and we felt tempted by all the free-ish lifestyles, like, oh, let's just put everything else away and go on the road and just see how...
Sell everything and move to Chiang Mai. Let's live in Thailand.
Yes, so we could have been in Chiang Mai.
Yeah, I have a friend who is in Chiang Mai, actually.
That's pretty funny. Yeah, so it goes back to us being millennials, honestly. And millennials actually don't have it easy when you think about it. A lot of flack goes to them for making many wrong life choices, which we totally agree with. But when we graduated, we had the terrible recession. Then everyone else is screwed up with student loans. We don't have them. We're lucky for that. And then we had the huge recession that barely ended. Houses became unaffordable for our generation, unless you work in tech, honestly, or get lucky somehow. And then we just recover from that, and we get hit by a global pandemic that bankrupts the whole world. So it's like mess after mess millennials have to deal with.
Yeah.
We have Logan, I think. Love your videos. I found them while prepping for a trip to Big Island, which we canceled. That sucks to hear.
Oh, you're from Eva Beach, Kapolei. Awesome. My mom was originally from Eva Beach, and I grew up in Kapolei.
That's exactly where you're from, yeah.
So where do you live now? I'd like to know that. But yeah, I'm sorry you couldn't go to the Big Island. We are so lucky. That was our last trip. Our last big trip was to the Big Island, and it was fantastic. We loved it. Yeah.
So that trip, actually, we took my 65-ish-year-old parents to Hawaii. They had never been anywhere tropical. And we took them to Oahu to see Susie's parents, and then to the Big Island to just see the crazy raw nature over there. And they barely got home. Actually, their flight got delayed. They had to stop in Canada to drop off someone that was having a heart attack on the plane, and in the Arctic Circle somewhere. Then they got delayed because of that. They missed all their connections. They had a big saga, and ever since then travel has been totally screwed. So if we hadn't taken my parents to see her parents in Hawaii, we probably would have never done that. And that's how crazy the world's become. You can't take anything for granted. We used to be able to travel freely anywhere, anytime. And, from the money you make in a day, you could get to the other end of the world. You just hop on a plane. It was crazy. But now it's like kind of back to old school. Like there are borders, you can't do very much. It feels like the Cold War again. And I'm from the Eastern Bloc, so before you couldn't go anywhere, and that's back where we are. Ironic.
So sad.
Ironic, yeah.
Hello from Pakistan. Nice. That might be the furthest away so far.
Pakistan is pretty far, yeah. How is the situation in Pakistan? We don't hear very much about it here in the USA. And New Type says, be safe and stay healthy. Thank you. We'll be making lots more content. Actually, Susie has a huge video coming out about her favorite subject, bags. She has at least 30 or 40 bags, I can tell you guys. It's a bit of a situation.
I use them all, I swear.
So funny, because she always says, I'm not like the other girls, I don't buy handbags, and she instead buys gear bags.
They're functional. I can actually use them.
Right. I get by with 4 bags. I don't know why I need 30, but that's a long topic.
I don't have 30.
I think you do. If you actually count it, you probably
Let's not
50.
Do that.
We have another comment. I'm in the Bay Area. Our trip was planned the day the Bay shut down.
Oh wow. No.
We're up all night deciding whether to go or not.
Yeah, Hawaii is interesting right now because they actually are taking this quarantine a little bit more seriously. I mean, sort of, because my friends there say that it's not being super highly enforced, but on the surface, there's if you go there as a visitor, you have to be in quarantine for 2 weeks. And my dad said that if you're staying in a hotel, the hotel workers actually do log you, and they are checking in if you're coming in, if you go out, if you come back or not. So. And then now you have to wear a face mask as well. So they're being stricter there than they are here. Right.
So Hawaii has a history with quarantines because they actually make you quarantine things you bring into the island.
Like pets. If you bring a pet, it has to be in quarantine. Yeah.
Yeah. So they know because such a small ecosystem can get so easily damaged. So when this happens, to them it's not very different. I think the big mainland of the USA has a bigger problem understanding the situation because they haven't had to deal with anything like this before. And, the whole liberty and freedom being the top ideal in the USA actually makes lockdowns very difficult to persist and to obey. It's an interesting topic. While in Asia, people are much more used to obeying to government orders and actually even just social norms and things. People in Asia were much more quick to wear their masks, for example. While in the West, people are like very into the idea of freedom. And how much retouching do you do for event photos?
Oh boy. So I used to do a lot of retouching, but so my whole strategy with event photos and client photos in general is that I used to cherry pick. I used to, go through and be like, these are the images that they want. And I've realized more so that what I think is good is not necessarily what my clients are looking for. Because sometimes like they ask you to see everything and then they choose photos and you look at that like, I would never have chosen that. I don't know why they chose that. So as a result, I actually deliver almost all of my photos now. I just take out the really bad ones or the ones that I don't think are technically sound. But the ones that are good, if I have multiple angles, I actually give them everything. And so as a result, I can't do as much editing because it ends up being a lot of photos. So I usually just do some basic retouching. But I tell them I usually include like one extra set of revisions like in my fees. So once the clients get the photos, I'm like, if there are certain photos you want that you want extra retouching on, then we can talk from there. And so I don't do a whole lot of retouching. I also think for events, you kind of take like this is what it's like kind of attitude with it of I don't want to make it look like something, super fantastic if it wasn't like that. So I kind of stick to that photojournalistic approach to events.
Which is dramatically different from what you've been going through with Starbucks, who have been wanting how many revisions?
Product photos. Oh, you were the one that's like, go do product, because he started in product photography.
I did, yeah.
And I'm like, but so I'm not super into details and getting every little pixel right. I am more like, I'd rather just go and just have everything set and just, be like the impartial observer and photo taker.
Yeah, so you take a million photos, that's your strategy.
Oh, yeah, yep.
And I'm actually an engineer for a living, so I am detail oriented and I like to perfect things and I like to make like a system out of things. So product photography is like a system, you set everything up, you control everything, and then you get it going like a conveyor belt kind of, you take many of them. So I enjoy that. So I told Susie to get into that as a way to supplement her business now in the hard times.
Yeah, but you enjoy that. I wouldn't say I'm enjoying it, but I'm appreciating it more, I'd say, because again, it pays a lot of money, honestly.
That's the thing.
Yeah, when you're working with bigger companies and you know that Starbucks has money, so you're going to charge them top dollar for that. And yeah, if they want multiple revisions, then, you charge, of course, but you do them. So yeah, I'm learning a lot about Photoshop right now.
And that's the thing, you learn extreme amount quick from photos that are of products because they get so picky. They get really picky.
They get very picky.
Yeah, and you did a few more before you did the big job for Starbucks. Like you had a friend of ours come with some stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we've just been kind of scaling up, I guess. I'm not sure how much product photography I want to do because, again, the revision process, like product photography is one of those, you spend more time in post-production than you do actually shooting because, you have to perfect every little piece of it. So for me, it's like, well, how much do I want to deal with that? We'll see.
Yeah, well, if it's a matter of staying in business as a photographer...
It's not like I have anything else to do, so...
The events are not coming back this year, I think.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So if you guys haven't heard, the big companies in the Seattle area have let their employees not come back to their office until October, and after that they say it's to be considered at the time. So chances are we don't go back to work at all this year, and by the sound of how strict these companies are, because the building I work in is 3,000 people and it's high density inside, so they're so worried if the virus gets in, it takes out a large population of the workforce. And they're talking about everyone has to wear a mask, everyone has to take a frequent test, and they have none of the means for that. So this will all apply to events as well, and then some, because events are even harder.
I was just thinking about that. Imagine going to like a corporate conference or like a concert and everyone's wearing a mask. It's like, oh gosh, like how exciting is that?
Yeah, and you can't really talk to people, you like stay over there.
So I have that problem. So I go out with a mask now, like to go grocery shopping, and because it has that filter in it, I already have a softer voice unless I'm like yelling, and people can't hear me. So it's like I have to like speak even louder because now my whole voice is muffled and people can't hear me. So
yeah, this is really dystopian what's become of the world, and so quickly, no one saw this coming. But when you first you're like, oh, kind of interesting, it's like a movie, like those nasty, depressing movies where everything is harrowing and dull and kind of like...
zombies are out to get you.
Well, they're not zombies, and that's kind of disappointing because all the apocalyptic movies have an exciting element to them, and this one quickly just became lame. And you can't do very much. You're like, it's all depressing, and we're not complaining per se. We're actually coping in a whole bunch of good ways. We have our neighborhood walks and all that stuff really keeps us feeling good. But overall, the implications are negative through and through. It's just not good. There are some silver linings here and there. Some adaptations and transformations in our lives and the economy are actually good.
Yeah, we'll see. So we're reading about that fallout now of our downtown businesses saying you guys don't have to you can work from home for the rest of the year. So it's like, how do those businesses and people who live downtown deal with that? Because we've already been a ghost town, so now it's going to keep going for the rest of the year. Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, it's how it goes. So if you don't know, Seattle just built out a huge base in downtown with many more skyscrapers in the last 10 years. Maybe 100 of them were built. Not all skyscrapers, but many buildings. And right about now, it looks like it was all for nothing because all the companies are letting their people work from home indefinitely, pretty much, by the end of the year. And are they ever going to return? Already they're talking about, well, maybe we'll give the forever option to work remotely to people. And at that point, you have a different kind of community possible, because think about a city like, for example, Sedona in Arizona. It's completely gorgeous. It's great climate. It's the freshest air I've tasted, almost, unless it's alpine. And everyone loves it except there are no jobs. Well, if I am able to work for a Seattle company and I preserve my income and I go to Sedona, it's opened so many opportunities at that point.
Yeah, we keep talking about how I think before this, like the middle cities, so like cities like Seattle that aren't New York, not LA, they've been a little bit more popular because people are realizing that they're not as expensive as some of the bigger cities, and you get a lot more for your money in terms of lifestyle. But now I think it's going to be middle cities plus smaller cities or small towns. People might start realizing, hey, we have space, we have freedom, and there's no obligation to live in a big city anymore. So it's like, if you could live anywhere in the world, or anywhere where I guess you are allowed to legally live, given this pandemic, like where would you go?
Yeah.
So that opens up a lot more places.
It does, and we have traveled a lot through our state, and it is extremely beautiful and diverse. But you can't help but feel sad about the small towns because barely anything is going on in them, even though they're great places. And it's because in the last 30, 40 years, all the people have rushed to the big cities, including Seattle and so on. And now some of them may start going back to the smaller towns. And that's actually a good thing. And stress levels, traffic, pollution, crime in the big cities is all terrible. Mm-hmm. So why not redistribute all that, make things a bit nicer for everybody, and give the smaller places economics means to get by? Mm-hmm. That's the thing. And so that's a good angle to this whole problem that hopefully becomes permanent, right? Mm-hmm. At that point, you have better options where to take your life. And especially we talked about the millennial generation. It has delayed all things like buying property, having children, getting married, and so on. So if you were to do that in New York, you might as well give up, right?
Right.
Yeah, but if you go in a place with 500,000 people, you have way better conditions for doing any of that stuff. Any questions from anybody? We had a comment again. I'm the same with the event photos. I try to cull and batch edit as much as I can and deliver all the good ones as quick as I can. Everyone just wants them for social. You've been telling me this for years. Yeah.
I kind of saw that coming. So back during the DSLR days, that's why I got my Canon 6D, is that the 6D had Wi-Fi in it. And I was like, I see this as being a thing. Clients want photos right now so they can post it on Instagram. And so, that's gotten really, really big. And now that phones are getting so good, I've been wondering how long is it before these event people are like, hey, I can just use my phone and I can get pretty good photos. And it's like, yeah, sure, but you have to still know how to use your camera and how to edit. So I think that's another angle. I'm trying to, if you've noticed on Gemini Connect, some of our tutorials have been more beginner focused, and I make those videos with those kind of clients in mind. Like, if I could train them how to take better photos using smaller or inexpensive gear, what would I tell them? But I'm doing that with the knowledge that I might be taking my own job away. But right now, this whole pandemic is taking my job away anyway. So it's like, what do I have to lose? Nothing.
Yeah, you're actually more tolerant of phones than I am. I barely even can stomach taking a photo with a phone at this point. I really dislike them. Not because of the quality of the picture itself, it's the experience while taking the picture. And this is a big topic too. We had that conversation about the Sony last time we tried it out in the park.
Which Sony? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The Sony A7R III, it costs almost $3,000, right?
Yeah.
Or at least did when it was
first
sold.
came out, yeah.
And you look through the viewfinder and it just looks awful. And same with the LCD. And it doesn't inspire. You actually can't tell if you're taking a good picture while it's happening.
That is true.
The phones are similar, and especially my Samsung right now, I have a huge grievance with the way every time I try to shoot, it overexposes. If I try to expose, I have to slide that thing down, but it makes it so when I slide down, it switches me to video mode.
Oh, well, that's just a flaw in your phone then.
It's nice, the UI the Samsung made, and so it's like garbage. I want to stop and not take the photo at that point. So I'm huge into UX, and I don't think cameras will die for the simple fact that they're like the tool that clicks perfectly in your hands to take a photo.
True, but I disagree because everyone has a phone in their pocket now, and so like I take more photos and videos with my phone because that's just what I have, and sometimes you don't want to carry a giant camera and lenses with you. So yeah, it's a big debate about what's going to happen, where that's all going to go. Also, you know, with just sales of cameras going down right now, production has gone down with cameras, so it makes you wonder where all that's going.
Oh, that's a big topic. So we did think of buying the X-T4 for a bit, and we gave up, but now we're looking at everyone that did buy it, and barely anyone's gotten it. And so how many more cameras will even come out this year? We don't know.
Well, they're announcing some, but yeah, we don't know in terms of, you know, actual sales and production. Canon EOS R5. I want it, but they haven't announced the price, so I'm scared. I think it might be like a $10,000 camera.
It's gonna be $10,000.
Shoots 8K.
Maybe $6,000, but I would rather buy a car. But yeah, so you're excited for that Canon, right?
I'm excited for Canon. I've been waiting for Canon. And if this ends up being like a affordable camera, semi-affordable, we'll put it that way, camera, I want to get rid of my DSLRs. Like they still work. They're great for photos, but I don't take video on them. So I want to be able to use it for video and photo. So the way I see this going is that hopefully Canon mirrorless comes out. Maybe the EOS R Mark II would be a good one. And when that happens, I'll probably sell the DSLRs. The Sony, I don't know. For right now, it's benefiting me to have that Sony because of all the third-party Sigma, Tamron. They make lenses for Sony. And because I work with a lot of, like, I work with DP Review, I work with Digital Photography School, and they get samples of those lenses all the time. And they give them to me. Not everybody gives them to me, but one DPS in particular gives them to me because they know I have a Sony camera. And so I'm able to get my hands on lenses because of that. So having the Sony is good for now, but we'll see.
Yeah.
At the very least, the DSLRs, like, I'm done with them. I want to get rid of them.
The whole saga started before we even started our YouTube channel, and mirrorless came out. And at first we look at it and like, what is that, a point and shoot? Because we all had big DSLRs and those are the real cameras, right? And then I went and got the Fujifilm X100 something, S, I think, the second version. And I loved it. It was such a good camera. So it actually cracked it in her head that mirrorless is amazing. And it's so much smaller. So Susie being 5'3" and carrying two cameras like this and is destroying her back and shoulders. And I've been trying to tell her, hey, you need to switch to mirrorless for years. But she has until now kept the DSLRs, despite actually buying mirrorless Sonys and mirrorless Fujis. And now that this Canon is on the horizon, it actually may make it so that you can switch away finally.
Finally! I've had my 5D Mark III for, almost 10 years. And it's a great camera. It still works. I still use it for a lot of my stills. I love the colors out of it. That's really one of the main reasons why I want to go Canon. And it's full frame because I love Fuji colors as well, but I'm not going medium format, so I got to go full frame. I think Canon is the closest match, so they just need to catch up.
Yeah, hopefully the new Canon doesn't cost $10,000 and does everything it promises. I talked sometimes to the guy that runs the Fuji Rumors website, and he doesn't want to believe it, maybe because he's a big fan of Fuji, but he has some good points about it. And he says if you look at the specs of what the Canon promised, everybody's eyes went like this because that stuff doesn't exist, right? No one's made it. You know, you're talking 8K, all these other things, no crop 4K, all things that no one else has. And his point was, well, when others are doing that, they need like a massive fan blowing in the same time so the camera doesn't overheat, and there's simply physical limitations that haven't been overcome. So it just sounds too good to be true. And his main take is that because of this really huge problem for camera companies right now, they're telling you way ahead of time, hey, an amazing camera is coming, don't buy Sonys and Fujis, we'll sell you a Canon that has it all in the end. But no one's actually had it in their hands to tell you whether that is all true.
Yeah, well, they've said that too about that A7S III, which who knows when that's coming out, but they say the same thing of, all these things, they might have, super slow motion, 8K, and it's like, well, what about the cooling? How does that work? So yeah, it's been an issue for a while, but at least there's something on the horizon, unlike that mysterious A7S III, which may never ever come out at this point.
Yeah, we have a comment by GJ. Hello to you too. Thanks for stopping by. And another comment from A. Logan. Have you tried EOS R? I switched to it a year ago.
Oh, from the 5D and the 6D.
Funny you mentioned that. We have tried it for 1 hour or so, and we made one of our most hated videos about it.
That's true. We get a lot of hate on that video.
You can watch it on our Gemini Connect channel. The reason it got a lot of bad comments is because, first of all, Canon has more fans than anybody else. But second, we went to this event about birds, and Canon sponsors the event and gives you cameras that you've never tried before, gives them to you and say, go and do bird photography for 1 hour. And we got the two EOS R and RP.
EOS R and the EOS RP.
Yeah, and we had a lot of hard time learning how to use them within 1 hour to be able to actually follow the bird watching tour and take the photos, because the usability was pretty peculiar, and you had that sliding thing that you touch to focus and crazy stuff like that.
Yeah, they changed the interface a little bit, and I respect that they tried something different, but I do think that it lost people that are just used to a certain format of shooting with DSLRs, shooting with mirrorless, even with Sony. Like, they stuck to more or less a DSLR format with how you use the camera, which made it a lot easier for those of us that switched over to Sony. And so I do think that was kind of a mistake for Canon, and I think they've realized that as well. It looks like that EOS R5 takes away that little touch bar thing. So I actually do hope, I don't know if people do like the touch bar, but we didn't like it for the hour that we had it. To be fair, we didn't have a lot of time to use it, but that was kind of our feedback of, this is a camera that if you're going to get it, you need time to learn how to use it. You can't just pick it up and start shooting right away. Yeah,
maybe it grows to you. Someone made that comment that when you get it down, it becomes faster to move the focus around that way.
I'm sure it does, yeah.
We didn't have that chance.
Yeah.
So I prefer the joystick still. And,
I do too.
And the dials on the Fuji and stuff like that. Giant Robot says, I made the switch to Fuji about 2 years ago after the Fuji event in Venice, California. Got a Geo on XH1, I think it's great for photos. I have the X-T3 and I use it for video. We have both of these cameras. We have XH1 and X-T3. We love them both. I want XH2, that's the camera I want. X-T4 looks good, but it still doesn't have the nice body that the XH1 has. XH1 has the better, stronger body, the bigger grip, and the best shutter I've ever used on any camera. And so I was hoping to see that on the X-T4, but they didn't do that. So now I don't want to buy it either.
Well, they have to save something for that XH2, So it's like, how is that XH2 going to be different now that they put IBIS in the X-T4? So it's like, we don't know what they're going to do. So yeah, you're holding out for that.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. I'm holding out for a Canon, so yeah. I don't know. So our long-term camera plans, they could be completely different. We don't really know what's going to happen.
But in the meantime, we can always buy more lenses. So I've been actually starting to look for a good deal on the Fujifilm 100-400 for wildlife. We want to do a lot with birds. And we're planning a trip, just getting in the car and driving east and maybe even get to Yellowstone or Grand Teton or Glacier. And there's so much wildlife in there that it's a shame not having the zoom lens for that. So we're thinking of buying that lens soon. If anyone is selling it, we're very willing to buy one. So A. Logan says, yeah, I never used the multifunction bar at all. Good idea. You can move the focus from moving your thumb on the touchscreen. Mm-hmm. So yeah, touchscreen. is the way you do it, I guess. But then you have to be out here when you're looking to compose, right?
Yeah, and to be fair, like now that I've had a touchscreen on the X-T3, but mostly with the Sony, I actually do use that that LCD panel more so than holding it up to my eye. So yeah, to be fair, like that is in some ways like a better way to compose and to shoot. But yeah, the problem is if you stick your face up to it, then your nose might, touch the focus. So.
Mine definitely
Yours
does.
definitely would.
It took me a while. What was I using? I think my Fuji. I don't know what I was using, but I kept on like something kept screwing up my shooting. And then I started Googling it, and someone made the comment, "Oh yeah, disable the touch screen because it's probably your nose." Which is pretty funny. Yeah, so you have to disable touchscreen to be able to use the viewfinder.
If you have a big nose.
Yeah. But now I have a benefit to that because I can wear any mask, and Susie can't find good masks to wear.
That's true, yeah. Yeah, because those masks have to like conform to your nose, and I don't have much of a nose. I already have this problem with glasses, like sunglasses. So now with the mask, it's kind of the same problem.
Yeah, so now I'm glad I have a big nose. Well, we're an hour and a half into it.
Yeah.
We can take more questions if there are any. We can also wrap, whichever guys think.
I think it might be a good time to wrap. I feel like an hour and a half-ish is probably a good amount of time, but...
Yeah, it's good.
And we will be doing more of these, because again, we're working on refining this and making it better quality. So... yeah, if you have any feedback about how this went or what, can be different, let us know in the comments. I think this video will actually be published on our regular YouTube channel after we're done streaming, so you can go back and watch the whole thing or comment on it. And yeah.
Just one more question. Any ideas? What would you guys like to see from us? What kind of content would you like to see? We have 2 channels. We know what kind of content we want to make, but it's always good to ask the audience as well.
That is true, yeah.
We have mostly travel coming, and your big bag review is the next one coming out.
Yes, my camera bag review, because I had to get a new camera bag, which I wasn't very happy about. But I mean, I kind of was and I kind of wasn't, because it's like you have to pay for it and put money down, but it's also like, ooh, it's a new exciting bag. I'm excited.
Yet another bag. Okay, if no more further questions, we are going to close the chat for today. And thanks all for coming. We thought video conference setup. That's a good idea, actually. Yeah, we'll do that. Right now we're in the process of getting it down, and
we're refining it. The tools to do that with the camera in particular, you can use like your webcam, like that's easy, but to use a separate camera you need a certain piece that I ordered yesterday, and we're going to get it at the end of the month because it's sold out. It's sold out everywhere. You just can't get a hold of it. Everybody wants to, do quality live stream. So we all need that one little piece to do it. So, but once it comes, we'll do some testing with it, and we'll show you how we set everything up.
Giant Robot says, I like the hacks you show for working and traveling.
Yay. Okay, good.
That is what we're about, doing it on the go.
Yeah, we're trying to mix up product stuff, so it's not just like, we only talk about products. So we want to do more about how we actually use them. Yeah,
well, thank you everybody for joining. We'll be making a lot more of these. We thought it's a good time in life right now to actually talk to people, even if it's virtually, because people don't get to meet each other too much anymore.
That's true. We've only been talking to each other. It's it's nice to mix it up.
All right. See you all next time.
All right. See you.